Bid Nerds is your daily YouTube car game show.
Get those nerds!
Where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Hagerty Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds. Yeah, man, play along and see if you can beat the nerds. I know a lot of our audience can. The proof is in. Is it put in? I don't know. Michael Deeb, how are you in San Francisco, sir?
Oh, man, limping across the starting block here, JP. I don't want to get into too much detail, but I feel terrible that I'm typing on my computer and I still have diaper rash cream on my fingertips. So, it's just one of those nights.
Weird. I don't want to know any of that. Yes, we are here in the Container Park at the in the Rami studio here. We've got Wade Bennet from Tech Daily. Wade Bennet, what's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Back at it again and excited to see what cars we have and how poorly we did last week.
Are you still number 17 on? I
am. It's going to start a new season in January.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you going to Wimbledon this week? Why are you wearing white? What happened?
All my black shirts were in the wash. It's a laundry day.
You don't have 20 Vegas Auto Fest shirts?
Come
on, man.
I only have one, and I use it like once a week. So
we'll have to remedy that.
It's just my head here in the wall.
Wade's wearing his underwear to the studio. It must be tough there.
Speaking of looking weird, we no longer have Switcher Jesus. He has retired, and we got some guy from the. Those places, the temp agency? We got Switcher Gary in the house. Hello, Switcher Gary. He's hanging out.
He's rocking a mean fade there.
What's
man.
up, Mental?
It's high and tight.
Howdy, everyone. Yes, it's gone. It got donated. It went to Wigs for Kids.
So what I want to know is that, okay, so you still have hair, though. Did you have to do, a circa 1998 haircut? Was that required? Was that part of the deal?
I'm circa like 1971. So, yeah, no, this is,
that is not a 70s haircut.
I told the stylist, I'm like, get as much for the donation and then you make it look normal.
All right. He went from.
I didn't want the back in the military haircut. I wanted to just look like a guy.
Switcher Wolverine right there. Look at that. The silver in the beard. That's all right.
Switcher Jesus went from superstar to supercuts. All right, let's get to the show. What do we do here? We are the Bid Nerds. We find the most interesting car from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. And, we'll talk about some interesting cars, and then we play The Price is Right. What do you guys think of that new opening? And I'm not asking the people in the studio. I'm asking the nerd herd out there that's watching and playing along. Let us know. We change up the opening segment. Is that better? Is it worse? Is it stupid? What would you guys like to see in that opening segment? Because we're probably going to change it again shortly. But there it is. Look who's hanging out.
You should get some clips from Vegas Auto Fest in there.
Yeah, we should. Well, you know what? The thing is, I don't know. Wade Bennet here, across from me, he's a real YouTuber. He knows YouTube things. The current trend is like make your opening sequence as short as possible now, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to just jump right in and make the intro like the thumbnail and have explosions and cars and backflips and all sorts of crazy things. But
it's so bad.
I really like the new intro. I think it's fun and it really explains the whole thing. So I'm for it.
How do you guys describe the show when you're out and people ask about it?
I say
nobody asked about it.
All right, when you bring it up and try to explain it to people, and they don't want to hear it.
I actually, my wife comes down here and she hangs out in Container Park, and when we're done, we go across the street to the Bend, and we end up having a couple of beers. And I use your quote. I'm like, it's Price is Right on YouTube for people who really, really like weird cars.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it. I mean, prices. We're going to owe Prices Right money. I kind of want to do a new. We've got the skin that goes around us here with the Godin on there and everything. Godin Classic. Big shout out to those guys. They support us. We support them. But yeah, I kind of feel like I want to put. I need to make a derivative of the Price is Right logo and put Bid Nerds in it or something like that.
Lean right into it.
Just go for it.
They're like daisies, right? Isn't the prices right? No, I'm thinking of the
game.
Yeah,
it's got the little, it's that 70s style stuff, but not anymore.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of price tag, the dollar sign thing with the multiple colors. I don't know. People have told me I'm like 70s. A game show host for all my life, so it kind of makes sense. Because this is really a game show when it comes right down to it. That's what we do. We have a YouTube game show about old cars.
With no money and no prizes.
Yeah, and if
no one wins nothing.
If you win something, we'll accidentally send your prizes to New Zealand.
Talk to us about that. So who's hanging out right now? We got Vampire Bear 13.
It's Mark. That's Mark from Ohio.
Yeah. Love it. Chris Carbine's hanging out. Randy Bloom.
Read Vampire Bear 13's comment because that was really good. He's given direction.
Put that up. What do we got?
Press the like button, everyone. Damn it.
Oh, man, he does have good advice. Let's see here. Ann is hanging out. Hi from Mobile, Alabama.
I believe she is another one of those Chris Carbine recruits.
Look at that.
Nice.
All right.
Now from the Gulf.
Tony's hanging out with us. Anthony from he's up there in the Idaho. We have a big Idaho group of people. You guys need to have a viewing party. All you Idaho people should get together somewhere and live stream that. That would be actually pretty fun. We could simul something or another.
JP, speaking of chiming in, I want to name drop here. Matt, what did I say his name was? Matt from 911R reached out and said that he enjoyed our show covering Shoddy's car just last week and said he'd love to come back onto the show with us. So I think we'll get him on here in the next episode or two. So Matt from 911R is coming on the show.
Kick ass. All right. I wonder if Zach from Cars and Bids is going to join us tonight. I don't know. It's Sunday night. It's a work night. Everyone's getting ready to go back to school tomorrow. School night. Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's get to the cars. Let's get to our predictions. Last week we made, or not last week, we do this show semi-regularly. We're trying to do it Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. And so last Wednesday we made some predictions and so let's get to those. What we actually had some predictions from the show previous to that we didn't realize hadn't closed yet. So we should probably talk about those real quick too.
Which ones are those?
The tractor and the other thing. Remember?
Oh yeah, we can do those. All right, cool.
Okay,
tractor.
Not prepared for the tractor. Give me a couple seconds.
I didn't even put the tractor up. We had the 968 up when I jumped in here. So. Let's do the BMW 335i first. Does that make sense?
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right. So on Cars and Bids, I picked out this 335i because my buddy Jeff Harley used to have almost this exact same car, only his was good looking because it was, what do they call it? Alpine white with the black leather interior, the sport package, and the aluminum inlay. Of course, we're talking about a 335i BMW with the M Sport package, which gave you really heavily bolstered sports seats, which were amazingly comfortable on long drives. Slick shifting 6-speed manual. These things come with rear-wheel drive, and when you get the M package, you get the M Sport package, you get sports suspension and an exhaust, which was amazing. So Harley leased his car for 3 years, and I borrowed it all the motherfucking time because the car was so rad. This one on Cars and Bids was showing just 57,000 original miles and was running no reserve. Now, I was pretty high on this car, and I think when I was looking at it, I'm like, this car might bring 20 grand. And then I listened to JP poop all over it and say, these things are fragile, and you'll be lucky to drive it off the photograph studio. Like, they're so terrible, yada, yada, yada. So I turtled back into my shell and came up with a really weak bid of $14,000. And I was still the high man. JP came in at $11,335. Wade, you said $11,777. And Lee Patet made a cameo in studio in the middle of the show and was here just in time to be put on the spot. And he coughed up $10,000 for a bid. Anybody in the, let's see, I know, Mental, you may or may not be looking at the result. You care to venture a guess as to what you think this generation 335i with the turbo engine, a 6-speed, and just 2-wheel drive with the M Sport package would fetch in the secondary market with under 60,000 miles in today's day and age? Because finding this car, no matter how fragile they are or no matter how fragile Polnik says they are, these cars are really, really rare in the secondary market with all the things I just mentioned, if you could tick them off on paper. So I don't know that they have the cult following that the earlier cars with the ZXP package have. These cars may be that fragile, but they're incredible performing cars. They really feel like sports cars. So Mental, if you didn't cheat, you want to just throw out a number. I was 14 and Lee was the low man at 10.
I'm going to say 11. I love that you guys always, when it's a Porsche, this color is always called respray red. But honestly,
Yeah.
find a BMW from this generation in that color.
Yeah,
they're all
usually they're
silver
that hell
and
rot
gray
red.
and-
When they're red, they're usually hell rot.
Yeah.
Or it's like a carmine red.
But you're right.
type
This
thing,
is a cool car. But I mean, yeah, it's the ZHPs were always the factory lightning. This is just one that was optioned rare rather than being a factory hot rod.
Yeah. Okay, so 11 grand. Anybody on the text line jumping in? No.
No. But everyone's being real nice. Everyone's saying hi to each other.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Okay, so without further ado, believe it or not, our car sold on 43 bids. JP, the number was $19,750. None of us were close, really. I was the closest person. I was off by almost $6,000. So, listen, I hear what you're saying, that these motors might not be the best investment long term, or maybe not the car you want to daily drive or take on a long trip because maybe they're not built there well. But finding one in this condition, I think, is a rare occasion. And if it is running and the maintenance is good and it's got receipts, these are hell of a driving car. Are you still surprised by that number? And then I'm curious to know if Wade thinks maybe this car made all that money because it was literally on Cars and Bids and like that's the perfect audience. Because Wade, I think you said that when we introduced the car, and I thought that was a really good take. So maybe that's where I'm going with that. But JP, what do you think about that result? Shocking or not shocking?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a low mileage, great car. I mean, that's I think what I said last time is it's getting harder and harder to find low mileage sports cars or enthusiast cars or certainly anything with some power and a manual transmission. But I do know that we're spending way too much time talking about this. Wade, what do you think?
No, I agree to your point, Michael. This is a Cars and Bids car all the way. I'm surprised by the results, though. It's kind of an obscure bright red color. It's not an M car. It's not anything too interesting. It's just kind of, I don't know, somewhere between that sub 20K decent used vehicle threshold that I think we talk about a lot, and then maybe an interesting drive. And I'm curious to see who actually bought it, because I don't know if one of us would be tooling around town in a bright red BMW, even if it is kind of fun to drive. So it may be red for another day or two and then wrapped and slammed and modded and mobbed up. Or somebody could just really enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It's just a nice used car. It's a better than average used car because it has 3 pedals and it has some poop. But just know that whoever got it, prepare for maintenance. It's going to cost you for that car. It's not going to be something that you want to drive for a long time. All right, let's move on. Let's what else? Let's talk about that tractor.
Mental. Let's go over to the tractor. This was the 1959 Diesel Master 408 tractor that who picked this out for us? It was Chef. So look, we don't know a lot about tractors. They haven't sold one for 40 grand on BAT. I said $40,000. JP said 35,408. Wade said that there is a whole cult following for old tractors and said that some auctions just do tractors. I get that. In the Midwest, I'm sure all that stuff is a big deal. He said $47,000, and we put Lee Patet on the spot one last time for $37,000. The result of the tractor was a new high watermark for Porsche tractors on BAT at $57,500 on 15 bets. Wade, you got that one right. No doubt
Guys,
at all.
I'm telling you, tractors are the new collector items. We're all going to the Meekum, tractor auction. Yeah. I'm telling you.
All right. All right. Let's see. Mental, let's jump right back in with the 1995 Porsche 968 on what platform is this? As soon as it loads. BAT. Do you see that car? Yes, thank you. All right. So here we go. This 95 968 had just 75,000 miles, was black on black, was being sold by JP's friends at More Imports in Monterey, California. These are guys that are buddies with DWA. They always have really cool cars. This car had the very rare 6-speed manual, under 100,000 miles, triple black, 17-inch Cup 2 wheels, and then it's got the MO30 sport suspension. I thought this would be a great time to look at a 968 because this looks like maybe the nicest non-club sport we've had for sale in this country for a while. But there was an accident in its Carfax history. I thought the car was going to shoot to the moon. I said $60,000, and I was out there all by myself. JP came in at $45,968. Wade said $52,000, and Mental, you were the one that was really bearish on this one. You went 43 grand. Anybody else need to jump in here on this, or should we just go right to the result? We got a lot of cars to cover. Should we just go right to it?
You should just go right to the result.
Our car sold for just $33,750 on 29 bids. Mental, why did you say 43 grand on that car? Because I don't remember.
So looking at it, it's a great car and it's a great driver, but the 968s don't evoke the same emotional response that you're seeing in the 944s, especially the 951 turbos. It was a limited production car. The price doesn't reflect necessarily the capabilities of the car, but it definitely reflects the market for people that wanted that car.
Who's next? Wade, where are you at? Talk to me about your result. What do you think?
You know, I'm kind of surprised. I think that's a little lower than a car like that deserves.
I thought so too.
I mean, for 30 grand, I'd love to have a car like that. I think it would be a lot of fun. But the market says what the market says. And I think to Mental's point, is probably not the fast, fun, interesting enthusiast car that some of the other Porsches are. It's still a nice example, but 30 grand, I don't know. I would enjoy driving it for 30 grand, but I really felt like there was more money in there.
Crap.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that result. Even if I didn't bring 60 like I thought it might, I'm surprised it didn't come in closer to JP and your bids, Wade, at that $45,000 to $50,000 range.
You said it's sold, right?
So
It's sold.
Yeah.
Picture,
Sold.
It's gonna be
Yeah. Under $35,000 to me seems like a steal, and I wish I had already sold my Turbo Look because at $33,750, I would have been a player for this car. All right, moving on. Our next car, Mental, if you're ready.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, give me a handful of seconds here. All right.
All right. Let's jump on to that BMW M6, Mental.
All right. M6.
M5,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
BMW M5, yeah.
Oh, the M5. I thought we totally skipped
M5.
that guy because that was like just weak sauce.
No, we talked JP into letting us cover it.
All right. Just fill some time for me, would you, real quick, while I'm doing all
Yeah,
this
no
up?
problem. Well, we'll talk about the car. It was a 10,000-mile 2006 BMW M5 with the V10 engine. It's on Bring a Trailer. The car was located in Sacramento, California. And by all accounts, judging by the photos, the car looked to be in pristine condition. Like even the driver's seat didn't have any
So
real
this is
wear
gonna
and
look
tear.
stupid.
Everybody hates the SMG transmission, but finding a car with that low miles in that original unmodified condition in a stunning colorway in all black with the silver wheels and the aluminum inlay seemed like a rare occasion, and I believed that it would be. With that in mind, I was, again, the high man. I'm eternally the optimistic. I said this car would break 50 grand. I thought it would go to $53,000. JP just was trying to take the under at 49. Wade, before we get to the result, you bid $41,000. Why were you so low on this car? What is it? Because the reputation of the reliability?
Well, the reputation of the reliability is like reasons 1, 2, and 3. But, you know, this is a car that nobody has driven. So I guess if you want to buy it and not drive it, awesome. If you're going to drive it, it's going to explode. It has no miles on it. It probably has no maintenance. It has all original parts. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah. But don't you think there's enough BMW collectors out there that somebody would want to buy that and just put it away because it's super low miles?
I think specifically from a collector's standpoint, yes. But it's not that old. It's not that rare. I think the only thing that's rare is probably the fact that it has its original parts. And if you want to put some value in that, sure. Well, but I don't know.
I did. That's where my bid was. And then Mental was on your side. So, you know, Wade, you were the low man at 41. Mental was on your side. He came in at $42,000. Drum roll, please. Our car sold on just 10 bids. This car got no love and no action. And Wade, you and Mental were in the right neighborhood. But Mental, The car sold for $42,000. Congratulations, my friend! You got your first Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
And Wade was correct that like nobody put any value in the fact that this was like all original low miles, and that somebody would pay a high number to put this car away.
Wow, look at that.
I'm learning. I'm still learning.
Okay, you turn that off.
Wow. Yeah, he got theme music. He got walk-up music for his Yahtzee. Mental, congratulations.
Totally.
Mental, Mental, really quick before we jump off this car, why did you bid $42,000?
Everything Wade said. All right, like the enthusiasts know that this car is made of blown glass. We know that the better one is the E39 M3 with that bulletproof V8 in there. The transmission on this one, I mean, it was a technological marvel, but who was it that just said it? Anthony, just told us it's an M5 time bomb. And so the very people who this car would appeal to know, I'm not buying that thing.
Bummer. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and throw.
Deeb, would you still buy one of those?
Me? What I would like to do is.
Have we talked you off the ledge?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, hold on. Don't give it. Look, that is the most BS. I want to drop a ish bomb so bad. I'd rather get a manual. No shit. Who would get a red?
Right.
Like, just that is I hate it when people say that.
But
I would rather have a Ferrari. Really? Oh, no kidding. I mean,
and in this case, if it was a good proper valve body automatic, I probably wouldn't hate on the car as much, just because it'd be the same thing as my AMG 6.3 was. A good, capable super touring car, but it's not the fact that it's not a manual. It's the fact that it is just, made of unicorn dust and hopes and dreams.
Dolphins tears. JP, what I was trying to say is I would like to drive one with a manual. I've never driven that motor with the 6-speed manual that they made. Everybody said it wasn't that great. So whatever. I'm over it. I'm not going to buy one, I promise. Moving on.
You better not.
I would. All right.
The nerds will come after you. Let's get out of here. All right. What do we got next?
All right, we got the 2010 Audi R8 V10 Coupe with a 6-speed manual. This car is located in Calistoga, California, and was showing just 48,000 miles. The combination of the R8 with the manual and the V10 have been escalating in the secondary market, particularly the later ones like 2013 and 2014. Earlier this summer, as the market was cooling down, but not as cold as it is today, some of those cars were bringing $160,000 to $200,000. And I wondered if this car in resale silver with the manual would be in that neighborhood. As such, I bid with my heart and I said $160,000. JP, you said $120,000. Wade took the over. So I didn't hang myself out to dry. Wade covered the over at $166,000. And then Mental came in at $139,000. Our car sold for just $100,000 on 29 bids. Ugh, pains me to say this. JP, your poo-poo bid was still $20,000 over. You won that one. Why did you ish all? Not ish all over, but why do you?
I didn't ish all. Look, your bid kind of dragged me up. If your bid wasn't so absurd, I probably would have bid like 100 or 105. I was like, well, I got to beat the spread a little bit. Jeez Louise. Yeah, I mean, I think I said it before last week. I was like, look, this is too many miles. This is, even though it's not really exotic car class, it has that look, it has that feel. I said it in the last episode, it's the best bling for the buck. I've owned one of these cars. I absolutely love them, but they will never. How many
miles were on yours?
Mine had like almost 40. So, and that really affected the value of the car drastically. Yeah, okay. So, and look, there was one, I think the Audi store, Audi Henderson's, our friends over at Audi Henderson, I think they have a Lamborghini Gallardo of the same year or maybe a year newer, and they're asking, 160. They're asking 160. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a man. I don't think it is, but still, the Lamborghini version is always going to be worth more than the Audi version in general. Whether or not that's the right thing, it's just the Lambo cachet is gonna bring more money. This car is a great car. I think that's a great value for someone. That's all that is the best bling for your buck. You're getting a manual. I mean, and this was a V10, so because like the V8 ones are bringing like 80 or 90. What do you think, Wade?
So I watched this auction close because I was super curious about it. It stalled out at about $88K for a long time, up until about the last 10 minutes. And then the bids finally started rolling in. JP, your bid was pretty low. The cheapest manual V10 Audi R8s for sale are still in the 120s and 130s with accidents, with 60,000 miles. Decent examples are still listed for sale. Maybe not selling, but for sale in the 140s to 150s. So I think this car went under the money.
Well, hold on. But you said,
you said, where does the market say it's selling? Where are people buying it? And I think this is kind of a very disappointing indication where a lot of these maybe 60K to 120K cars have kind of come down in value a lot because they're not collector cars, they're not exotic cars, and they're not the cheap 20K daily drivers. They're this weird gap where people probably aren't stretching their budget. They're probably not spending any of the extra money that they have. And I think these cars are starting to hurt.
Yeah, in a big way. I mean, you said it, what they're asking. There are a ton. Look, I love this car to the point where I'd kind of like to get another one. So I've been paying attention to the ones that are for sale. And the same ones that are for sale right now have been for sale for longer than your Mercedes, which is saying something, right? I mean, Glacial, they were for sale next to, like, you could get a Brontosaurus when dinosaurs were still being ridden around. Mental, what do you think of this result?
Petrol oil, chunky style.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I was with Wade on this one. This generation, the V10 it was the more powerful engine, but it wasn't the better engine. And yeah, it's in a weird spot. Collector doesn't want it. Someone who just wants to drive a budget exotic, this is the one they're going to look at, but they're budget exotic. They're not going to drop this much coin.
I'm telling you, the guy that can't afford a Metzger engine manual is buying this car.
There's something to that. I mean, look, the V10 is freaking glorious. Yeah. I know, Mental, you don't like it as much. Maybe it's not as good a track engine, but on the road, man, it is just a wonderful. I mean, these cars are so much fun, and for $100,000, you have the performance of a $200,000 GT3 or better with a stick. Mental, for my money, I would rather spend even less than this and get a convertible. And why is that? Cue up the Cabrio thing. When you spend weeks on the road by yourself driving a classic Porsche across the country, your mind can wander. That's why we call this part of the show Road Trip Ramblings. Is the world really split up between dog people and cat people? I think it is. And it's particularly so in the Porsche world. One thing I've noticed hardtop fans say is that cabs suck. But I have never noticed a Cabrio fan say that coupes suck. Now, to be fair, most drop-top fans will say that they prefer them over the hardtops. But hate a coupe? That'd be nonsense. So why do coupe people have such a binary worldview? I have a theory. I think it's because coupe people are cat people. Now, I don't mean that they like cats over dogs. What I mean is that, like cats, they choose to confine themselves into small spaces and peek out at the world safely from inside their insulated little boxes. Dogs, on the other hand, well, I mean, have you ever seen a dog in a car? The first thing they're going to do is stick their head out the window. Dogs want the world right in their face, and they can't get enough of it. Dogs are at their happiest when they're with their people. And I guess when you think about it, they also like to eat poop. The official Area 51. All right, there it is. I like to eat poop. I'm saying it right on the show. I'm a dog person. There it is.
That reminds me of Saturday Night Live's Deep Thoughts.
It is, yeah. That was so. I think it was Anthony was giving me ish on YouTube over on the Faszination channel for posting this particular video. This video comes from my old TV show, Porsche Road Trip. It was on Pluto TV for a year, and it's something that I came up with. There's that one shot where I'm driving Mental's car, the yellow, what do you call it? Old 17?
Old 17, absolutely.
Old 17, yeah. When it was still Mikey's, we were on the crest.
Yeah.
And actually, there's that one shot where you see the dog sticking his head out, and you could just see the dog running from one window, then to the other window, then to the other window. And he was just having the time of his life. And that's when the whole theory dawned on me. This whole dog people versus cat people when it comes to convertibles. I am not saying that if you like a coupe that you like cats. I am saying that if you like a coupe over a cab, you are like a cat. So you might still have your dog and prefer dogs, but you are more like an actual cat. So get that straight, people. The details matter. All right, moving on. What else we got?
What do we got? Oh, JP, this one that you loved.
Yes.
The 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco.
They never made these in convertibles. Never made a convertible Scirocco.
But
On Bring
they're
a Trailer,
so good.
running on no reserve. This was an alumni car out of San Clemente, California, showing 106,000 miles. This car ran on Bring a Trailer in June of 2022, and it sold for, did I get that right? Let me see. It sold for $8,300 and had 97,000 miles out of Salem, Oregon back then. So our car is up. We took a look at it. We talked about why JP thinks this is the greatest car on earth. After
not
he got
just
done with that,
not just JP.
I said, yeah, and Mental, who agreed with him, lockstep. I said $7,000 would bring this car home. JP took the over at $7,500. Wade Bennet, who had never heard of or seen this car before in his young life, had said $6,900, and that was really just like, that's like shooting a gun in the dark. And Mental, who really liked it and agreed with JP, was super pragmatic and came in at $5,500 when I told everybody this car sold for just $8,300, and they clearly spent some money on it. So without further ado, our car did sell. It was no reserve, no shock there. 35 bids. This was the high bid car of the week. And it rang $8,600, which was $300 more than it sold for a year ago. So John, look, you know these cars probably as well as anybody, save Mental. Are you surprised that it brought the same, dollar amount? Maybe not the same value if we get into the whole interest. Go ahead and drink. But are you surprised that it rang sort of the same number? Does that make sense to you, or are you not surprised by that number?
The drinking word was inflation, not interest, but fair enough. You can drink either way. We encourage drinking by the Nerd Herd because this show is definitely better if you are not sober. I am not surprised by the results. It looks like the guy did some work to it. You mentioned that after we had already kind of made our bids. And, so this car is ready to roll. It's just a cheap way to get into a nostalgia classic. There are a bunch of dorks like me and Mental that want this car. I just look at that interior. The one, my 82, my second Scirocco, the one that I had for the longest amount of time, was black on black and gray with that same kind of pattern, but in black and gray. So this is just totally hitting me in all those nostalgia places deep, deep, deep in my pants. Wade, do you want one now?
Still no. I will not be taking this
after
one.
After me talking about my crotchal area, that doesn't inspire you?
No, I'm good. I'll keep my $8,600. I'm not going to take this one off the streets from you guys. You can fight over it. And,
look at that Alpine stereo. That's worth $8,000.
And I'm sure it smells great, and the buttons click just the right way. You all remember, but it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, Mental. Did you buy this? Was that you?
I did not. This is a gorgeous car. I'm not prepared to pay $8,300 for an 8-valve.
It's not a gorgeous car. I don't know about that
Mental
one.
lives in
It's
the
an
desert.
awesome
His
car,
ship
but I don't
did
know
not
about
come in.
gorgeous. Yeah. Mental, you were rocking that 993 today. We drove out to Topak 66. Shout out to all those who showed up for our drive today. We had a great time. It was the To Hell with the NFL drive to Topak 66. We had a good group. Weather was perfect. And how about those roads, Mental? What do you think?
They were good. I think sometimes, as much as we love to complain, everyone complains about their roads. We forget how good our pavement here is in Las Vegas, because that was some old asphalt.
Yeah.
Very noisy. Great roads, great views, wonderful time, good people. And that's always the key to those drives. It's always having the right people.
Yeah, unfortunately, you and I were there, but everybody else was great. All right, so that is our reconciliation of predictions from last week. Is that right? Did we get them all? Dead air.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Let's go to a commercial real quick, and we'll be right back with
homework.
new predictions right after this. Hey, guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. If you don't subscribe to Bid Nerds on YouTube right now, I'm going to shoot this 997.
If you said, wait, that's a 996, you're a nerd. So subscribe to the new YouTube channel, Bid Nerds.
Get those nerds!
All right, we are back. We've got a lot more people watching right now. Lucas Picard, he's saying an A1 Volkswagen for $8,000 is crazy until you drive one. So Wade, you better not blow that $8,000 at the casino
Not
just
yet, not
yet.
yet.
You better hold on to that cash because you might want one of these. All right, Ross Churchhouse is on board too. Look at that, Ross is here. That's pretty dang cool, right?
Yes.
Ross in New Zealand. All right, Michael Deeb, we have new predictions. Let's get to the first car.
All right, let's get to it. As soon as I can pull it up, it's a Mazda RX-7. Actually, let's do the 2015 Chevrolet SS that Buddha, our good friend Mike Myers, selected this car for us. On Cars and Bids, thank you, Mental, for pulling that up, is this 2015 Chevrolet SS with just 6,900 original miles. It's got a 6-speed manual, and it's painted in a very rare shade of alchemy purple. The car is listed as mostly unmodified. JP, Mental, you guys may know the story on this. You know, Chevrolet and Ford are huge brands in Australia, and they make these incredible sort of like economy sedans with big V8s, rear-wheel drive, and manual transmissions. And these cars are everywhere in like Sydney and out on the road. The Australians love their power and they love to drive fast. These cars sound incredible. And so Chevrolet brought this car in, and this guy put the Holden badges on it, which is what it would be called overseas. You might remember we did the Pontiac GTO when Bob Lutz was in charge at GM. That was another one of this sort of line or heritage of cars. But this thing's really cool. Buddha basically said this is a Corvette with 4 doors, which my retort to that would be, isn't that what the Cadillac CTS-V is? 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. This car makes a whopping 415 horsepower and 415 pound-foot of torque. It's got 19-inch alloy wheels. And I think that purple color, the Holden badges, the manual transmission, and the super low miles means this car will do well. Buddha gave me a bid, which I'll get to later. But I'll just send it back to you guys. JP, do you know what I'm talking about when I talk about these Australian cars that have just sort of been kind of rebadged and brought into the U.S.? Because, you know, Chevrolet wasn't making this car for the U.S. market originally, and then they've kind of made a business case that they could sell these things. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, lipstick on a pig. I mean, it's pretty great. The performance stats make sense. The people that own these just go bonkers over them. You see quite a few of them here in Vegas, oddly enough. I've seen them around.
Our friend Emily has one for sale.
Over at
the interest.
Fortis,
And
yeah.
it is it's not this cool color, but it is a 6-speed.
That is the thing I like. Okay, it's 3 pedals, so I got to give love to any manufacturer that still has 3 pedals and then power. Because a lot of times the 3-pedal cars go to the ones that are just like the most cheapest thing they make. But I just, you know, the chrome wheels, the purple color, just everything about this car, the way it looks, just is repellent to me. If you could drive the car without having to see it, I think I would like it a lot more. But I just, you know, I want the Wonder Woman version of this. You know, her invisible jet that I can just cruise around and get all the senses of acceleration, fun driving. But don't want to see it. Wade, what do you think?
I think Emily's is silver, so you should totally do that one.
I'm as close.
Wade, help me out here. In 2015, did the Corvette manual turn to a 7-speed? When did the Corvette go to a 7-speed manual?
I think around that time.
Yeah, the
So,
C7,
like,
right?
This car has a 6-speed manual, and the Corvette of the same ilk would have it 7-speed. I would argue this might be the more fun car to shift gears in. I'll give you that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably say too much about this car. This is first off a quintessential Cars and Bids car. This is exactly what Doug DeMuro wants to put on his platform for his audience. A manual 4-door American car that's kind of quirky and a weird color. So this car has racing heritage. This is what they used in NASCAR from 2014 to 2016, 2017, whenever they stopped using it. I think that kind of encouraged Chevrolet to bring it to the US because in racing, they didn't really have a replacement car at the time. So I think that helped. I was in Australia earlier this year, and there's a big Holden sort of community there where they have the Holdens, the 4-doors, the Utes, the pickup truck things. They're, you know, bopping around all over Australia. I think this car was maybe before its time. It like sort of kind of appeals to like the Charger people. It sort of kind of appeals to Corvette people as like a more practical daily driver, but it was probably a couple of years before people appreciated it, which is why it only lasted however long it lasted, 4 years, 3 years, whatever it was, which is a shame. It's not quite CTSV level fun with the horsepower either. It's like, you know, you can kind of convince your wife to get it. A nice practical 4-door sedan with a manual that has 400 and whatever horsepower. And these were weirdly expensive and held their value for a little while too, in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, which at that time when these cars were out was kind of a lot of money for a 4-door Chevrolet. So it's a weird car. I can see why it's kind of popular, but it's popular with very few people who are very excited about it. And I passed it off to Mental.
Yeah.
Mental, what do you think?
All right, so building on that, this was also originally, before it was the Chevy SS, it was the Pontiac G8 before Pontiac died, and it is everything on this. Now, when I was a supercar instructor, they used these as lead cars. We could, and I could run down a CTSV of the same era. I could take this car and do a CTSV. It was a little bit lighter, very easy to throw into a corner. Really, really capable car, especially when you
and less weight on the less weight on the nose because it's not forced induction, so it's got less equipment over the front axle, right?
Yeah, and it was these were really, really good cars, and actually most of the Corvette brake stuff would fit.
Oh, look at JP is going to sleep. I love it.
All right, so basically, this is what my friend would call this a mother-in-law car.
Oh, we're still on? Oh, yeah, you guys were, geez, I thought I was, oh my God.
Now you know how I felt last week with the Scirocco.
Right?
Before the host closes the studio, all right, on Cars and Bids, our car closes in 2 days. Jason Camissa, by the way, did a whole video on this car, and he really
of course he did.
Again, Buddha liked it because it's purple and it's got low miles and it's got the stick. It's sitting at $36,500 on 10 bids. Buddha said $60,000 was going to bring this car home. While I don't share his enthusiasm, I do think this car has a chance to bring 50 grand. And again, it's something Wade said. This is exactly what Doug DeMuro exists for. These kind of weird, quirky cars. This one is capped off by the fact that it's got the Holden emblem right there on the grill. And I'm a nerd enough that I love that shit. So I'll give you 50 grand, JP, and let you take all the real estate underneath me. And Buddha, thank you for picking a car that put the host to sleep.
Yeah, guys, guess what? This isn't a Holden. It's a Chevy SS with Holden badges on it. Remember, if this were actually a Holden, then yes, maybe it gets the 60 grand or something like that, because then this car is actually kind of a rare car. But this is just a Chevy SS. Who gives a crap? With some stuff on it. I'll go 45.
If it was a Holden, the steering wheel would be on the side.
Well, didn't they make any left-hand drive ones? No.
Actually, they did. The
in
British,
Germany.
The handful of British and European Vauxhalls and
One other thing I want to mention here, though, guys, is that I would actually rather have this car than that M5
every day, all day,
SMG.
twice on Sundays. Yes.
All right, Wade, what do you think?
I think whoever buys this is going to yank those Holden emblems off, and they're going to put it in their American V8 collector car garage with the Corvettes and all the things. And they'll pay probably $53,000 for it with a smile, because it's kind of rare.
And JP, you said 45, right?
Yeah. What do you think, Wade? Mental? Sorry, Wade.
I do not share the enthusiasm. It will sell. It will not sell. I'm going to say 48, and they're going to drive it.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Just change the wheels. Just get rid of the chrome wheels. Do us a solid. Just get rid of the chrome. If you're going to do anything, get a vinyl wrap on all the chrome stuff. All right. What do you guys think of this wannabe Holden? Is he going to bring the big money, or will Doug DeMuro just steal it from the seller? Because I'm with you, Wade. I think that is a good take. Yeah. This is definitely Doug DeMuro material. What else we got? What's the next car? Ooh, I'm looking at the next one on the list.
Also on Bring a Trailer is a one-owner 1993 Mazda RX-7 with the R1 package and a 5-speed manual. This car is running at no reserve, showing just 8,000 miles out of Inglewood, California by the seller 405 Motoring. The R1 was basically It's really kind of the sport package car. So it's got like cloth seats. It's got a deeper front chin spoiler. It had Bilstein dampers, so slightly different suspension tuning. It got the rear wing, and I think it got a higher speed rated tire. The motors made the same horsepower, which was about 255 from what is essentially like a 1.3 liter rotary engine with I think it's twin turbochargers. Is that right, Mental? Twin turbos?
Firm, yeah, sequential.
Yeah. And Mental, do you know, beyond the dampers, was there any other suspension tuning that you remember on this car that would have made it, like, did it have better roll bars or anything like that?
This is more or less, it was the track pack for this one.
Yeah,
and
the R1 was
and
the
whole
racing.
thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just set up a little bit stiffer, and I believe it also lost a little sound deadening. But I bet the nerd herd can correct me on that one.
Yeah, really cool car. Flip up lights is Mental showing in those photographs.
Up and down headlights.
The car looks so sinister and sexy in black. I love the cloth interior. I've driven these cars. They're so much fun. They're so light and they handle so well. They're just fantastic cars. But a one-owner car with this package and low miles, I think they're going to break the bank for this one. Despite the entire market being soft and down, and JP will tell you 100 times over, even at 8,000 miles, this car might have had an engine rebuild. I don't think anybody gives a shit. I think what you're looking at is the one owner and the odometer and the spec of the car, and that's going to be enough to take this car deep into the six figures. That's what I predict. JP, I know you like these cars, but do you share my enthusiasm that this car could break the bank?
I think this car comes from one of the greatest eras of cars. I mean, the early 90s was so fantastic. You had, of course, the air-cooled 911 was kind of coming to the end. They had the 964 generation, which most people agree is the best of the air-cooled 911s. But then you had Nissan with their 300ZX twin turbo, and of course the Supras, and this car. They all were kind of like on the street at the same time.
The NSX,
and they just
the
and the
3000
NSX,
GT.
yeah. I mean, there's just there's so many great cars. I don't know if I put the 3000 GT in this category, but thanks for playing. This car is so much fun to drive. I wish I had gotten a chance to own one of these back when that was still a possibility, when they were still affordable. This is definitely the spec that I would choose. Black on black, of course. So much fun to drive. I hadn't driven one for years. Until fairly recently, like about a year or two ago. DIY Mike, the DIY Mike YouTube channel, he let me drive his, and he drove my 993, and we went and did the Red Rock Loop, and it was just glorious. That. Yeah, I had forgotten how good these cars are, and of course his is heavily SEMA. Modded. Yeah, great trip, great drive. Thanks again to DIY Mike for letting me drive that car. I love this thing, and yes, I agree with you. One this nice, pretty hard to come by. Most of them have been beaten within an inch of their life just because they were cheap for so long. What do you think, Wade?
Yeah, this is a great car, and I see a lot of them around town. There's actually two in my building. Not as nice examples as this one, not this spec, but they're out there. And like you said, most of them are beats. They are rough around the edges, to say the least, with 150,000 miles and mobbed and modded to almost be unrecognizable. This very well may be one of the lowest mile examples of this car, and unfortunately, JP, I don't think it'll be driven. As fun as it is to drive, I mean, maybe it gets 500 more miles before going to some other collector for another six-figure amount, which is kind of a shame. But this might be the blue chip example of this particular car.
What do you think, Mental?
I'm actually with Deeb, and I'm with you on this one. I think the significance of this car, the era that it represents, the rarity of this package. I can't even remember the last time I saw a left-hand drive one. The ones I keep seeing here in Vegas are all right-hand drive JDM imports. And so to see one, and before that, they were all getting LS swapped because all those rotaries were blowing up at 150,000 miles and no one was making replacements. So this car, this is not a driver. Someone is going to add this to their collection, and it's a blue chip investment. I'm going to say it's going to sell at 120.
Oh, you're just hopping right in there with your bid. Okay, all right.
Sorry, well, because we've already got a couple of the bid nerds. We got Randy telling us it's going to go for 92, and Lucas is saying 108.
All right. Mental doing a little pew jump in there. What do you think, Deeb?
I have two things with you, John. One, do you remember this era? You and I were both super into motorcycles when we were at the age that this car kind of dropped and came out. And when I drove this, John, back in 1993, it was, for me at least, the first car that I was ever like let loose in, where the car seemed to be as exhilarating to drive as a Japanese sport bike was to ride. And I didn't think I would experience that thrill in a car. And this car gave it to me, and it was damn near affordable. It was too expensive for me to buy brand new, but it was like tantalizingly close. Like, well, if I could live rent free and didn't have to feed myself, I could almost afford this damn car. And that's what I remember about it. I thought it was really cool. And then, John, I wanted to ask you, the photographs are sexy, but would you say these are good photographs for selling the car, or are they good photographs for marketing the car?
That's a good question. I don't really like any of these studio photos where they have the LED lattice above the car, and because it really obscures the lines and the details of the car, the things that you actually want to see. I love cool lighting and stuff like that, but you want the light to show you what the car looks like, especially on a black car like this. It just hides a lot. I haven't looked at this listing super deep. I'm hoping that there are more photos of the car where they are maybe a little less artistic. But yeah, this whole trend with these crazy LED lattice things, I'm not a big fan of that.
I'm particularly happy to see that they rubbed the interior with what apparently was a slice of bacon. Before they took all these pictures. This is
yeah, that's true. It is weird. Yeah, that's a good point. Middle. I remember the commercial for this car when it came out, and Mazda was really kind of pushing that whole, like, this is a real sports car. This is what sports cars are supposed to be like. They were showing the car, breaking traction and sliding around corners, and they were showing video of their older cars, the earlier RX-7s in the commercial, which was something you didn't really see a lot of manufacturers doing yet. Porsche had not embraced their heritage yet. Mercedes certainly didn't. BMW hadn't. It was a long time before I can remember. It was well into the aughts before I can remember any manufacturer ever thinking, clutch those pearls to show the old model. It's all about the new model. Mazda was way ahead of their time in that regard, and I always that always kind of stuck with me. Did you throw a number out already, Deep?
No, I'm gonna go high. I like this car. I'm gonna be higher than mental. I'm gonna say $140,000, and just give you the caveat or the asterisk: never underestimate the power of the Japanese car fan club. Like they will, for the right car, the collectors of Japanese cars will pay huge money. And I think this car, I wouldn't be surprised if this car brings 150, but I'm just going to say, all right, the market and the bacon interior, I'll go 140, but I do think this car is going to be shocking. I think it's going to bring a lot of money.
Great car. Love it. I don't think it's going to break 100. I'm going to say 95. Wow. What do you think, Wade?
I'm gonna go over that. I think it's a six-figure car. I don't know if it's very, very, very high. I think 122 is probably fair, and they should have definitely taken this car out of the detail bay and give it some proper pictures because, not the best setup. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a Supra. These cars just don't have the cachet that some of the other bigger Japanese cars, but we will find out. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Have you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button yet? What the heck is wrong with you if you haven't done that? Do it. Do it now. Do it now. All right. We still have a couple of more cars to go. What's next?
A Porsche.
Hey, look at that. Big surprise.
Shocking. What we're talking about is on Bring a Trailer. It's a 1988 Porsche 911 Turbo Coupe. Our car is in Osprey, Florida. It's showing 60,000 miles. It's got an Andial Racing intercooler, but otherwise pretty stock. 4-speed manual, limited slip differential. I think the big news here is that you're talking about well under 100,000 miles and a pretty rare and attractive Venetian blue metallic paint. The car does have marine blue partial leather interior, but it's so dark, I imagine in most light it looks like it's black. But this colorway on this car with those low miles, I thought was worth a look. So, JP, I send it over to you. What do you think of Venetian blue? is that color rare enough to bring this car kind of collector money?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to affect the value. Porsche buyers are just so goofy about colors. For my money, I would way rather have a black one or a silver one or something boring colored. I don't really quite see the appeal of these crazy colors. This color isn't over the top. I do like the fact that I do like that dark blue interior. That's kind of neat to me. So yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying I don't understand why people would pay the extra money for the color. What do you think, Wade?
I am somebody who would pay extra money for the color. I think this is a great color combination for this car. Beautiful. And since we were talking about pictures, those are some hell of opening shots right on the beach. I mean, I would love to take this cruising up the coast along the beach. Beautiful car. Big number on this car, I think.
What do you think, Metal?
I agree with Wade. I know the weird colors. Especially these beach shots that Wade was just talking about. These are breathtaking. And you know how I feel about, 930s and the 911 turbos, especially 4-speed. It looks like a dancer, but it's a boxer. This is it'll punch your face. This is a great car.
How long has this thing been in Florida?
Oh, why are you asking me? I didn't do any research. Come on.
I mean, that is a real thing. I mean, okay, just looking at the...
It was delivered new to San Diego, but it's made its way down to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's been in Florida since the mid-'90s, so that's
so see, there's a strong possibility there might be like a refund in the back seat or hidden under a panel someplace, wrapped in cellophane and tape.
Yeah, just,
exactly. The
DeLorean.
The DeLorean refund.
Where is Miami J when you need him? Yeah, I definitely... I have an aversion to Florida cars. This car is going to smell bad in there, and everything that's been glued on the inside of this car is going to be sticky and tacky, and maybe not sticking as well as it should have. I always stay away from cars that have spent significant amounts of time in Florida. This car is, that's a deal breaker for me. I know it's not for everyone, but I can't do it. What do we think is going to happen? What's this thing going to bring?
All right, JP, our car is in Florida. It closes a couple days from now. It's currently sitting at $127,000, and it's only on 11 bids. It's not getting a lot of action, but I still think that colorway and the miles, and as Wade pointed out, the photos are really going to push the value on this car. I think this car is going to do well. With that in mind, I'm going to go $175,000. I think this car will go over. It's at 127. I don't think that's that far to go. That's just like another 40 grand. So I'm going to give you 175,000 and send it to you, JP. What do you think is going to happen?
Not a freaking chance. 930s are soft. I love 930s, but they are not bringing the big money, even with the fancy color. Just keep in mind, our friend Chef bought his 86 just, 6 months ago when the market was decidedly better. His is an ROW car, so you could make the argument that his car being an ROW is less valuable than an American one. But I mean, he bought his for $125. I mean, I think he wound up paying out the door $127 with the fees and stuff like that. So this car is already at $127, but I don't think it has another, maybe another $20,000. I'm going to say, huh?
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Chef's car isn't a collector's car. Chef's car is just kind of like a hot rod. You know what I mean? And I think this car,
it has half the miles of this car, and it's black on black. It's not. How is it a hot rod?
Sports seats.
And, yes, he's hot rodded it, but he bought it as a stock car. There was nothing hot rod about it at all. It was a perfect condition, black on black, with the recent $35,000 in maintenance, which that's one thing that people don't keep in mind with these 930 turbos require a lot more maintenance. When was the last time this thing had a reseal? If it hasn't had one recently, it's going to need another 30 grand in maintenance. They just constantly, the turbos need love. So, I mean, if somebody pays $175 for it, I think they're asking for a world of hurt. And I don't think, that would definitely be some inflation numbers. So that was your number, 175?
Yep, where you at?
Oh gosh, I don't know. What's the nerd herd saying? I need some help from the nerd.
I got everything from 169 to 188 911.
188 911. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go 150 930 and send it off to that guy.
I think you might be a little off on this one. I think there's a lot of money in this car. I think it's a collector car, and I'm not afraid that it's in Florida because it's not like it was sitting in some schmo's moldy garage. This was in a climate controlled garage. It was in a warehouse.
State, yeah.
It was in a dealership somewhere. I mean, I think that there's still a lot of money in this car, and I've seen them listed again, not sold, but listed even in the 200s still for really nice examples. So
They're out of their mind at 200.
they may be, but it only takes two people who really love the color and the spec on this car and the relatively low miles. I don't want to go above Michael Deeb, so I'm gonna say 169, which was my original bid before I saw it in the chat. But 169, I think, might even be a little under the money on this car.
Chris Carbine came in at 165, and Ross said 169 change. So you guys are all in sort of the same neighborhood. I'm just taking the over on that conversation.
What do you think, Mental?
Yeah, I'm totally down with Wade on this one. I'm gonna say this one. It is the right colors. What drove part of Chef's things that because it was an ROW, it had to leave California. Yeah. And I think that cut some of the market out on this one. Yeah. I think this is I'm just gonna say 170. I think this is a $170,000 car.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said about the ROW thing. It definitely limits the value with Chefs.
And I catch your bit about weird colors, but man, this one, this weird color is the right weird color.
Yeah, it is.
You guys are just okay. Whatever. It's blue. It's a Honda blue car. Whatever.
Yeah, you know what? And Selma Hayek's just a Mexican, but if she starts taking off her clothes, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. She starts rolling tortillas.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yeah.
Last week I got in trouble for saying that a Scirocco is or Volkswagens are the Mexican food of cars, and I was called racist. And he's what? I'm out of this. She's just a Mexican. I did not say that. I know Bid Nerds is going to get quoted as host says Selma Hayek is just a Mexican. That was Mental that said that.
That was me professing my love for Selma Hayek.
When Mental said Selma Hayek, everybody pictured her bosom. Nobody thought about her nationality. So it's
nothing on Selma Hayek is Honda Blue. It's just,
but if it was, still not throwing her out of bed. She could be Honda Blue from the neck down. Wouldn't care.
Hayek is a Middle Eastern name too. She's only half Mexican. The other half is Arab, like me.
Bam. All right. Dropping a little knowledge.
All right. Here we go.
That's my cousin you're talking about.
Obvious jokes are going to be avoided. Last car.
Patrick LeBeau nominated this car here. This is a 1997 Porsche 911 Turbo S Coupe for sale on Doug DeMuro's website, Cars and Bids. One of just 345 built for the world. Our car has just 15,500 miles and is offered out of Bellevue, Washington. These cars are super rare in this country. This is, as the Professor Ben used to say, the 993 Turbo is the pinnacle of human achievement. This is the version 2.0 of that before they went to water cooling. This has to be, I mean, I've never driven a car like this. I can only imagine how much fun this thing would be to drive at, say, Red Rock with no police. Like, you could just have a freaking blast. 424 horsepower and 423 pound-foot of torque. It's essentially, 5% more horsepower over a standard 993 turbo. Are those yellow brakes? Are they? Is that like the first version of? No, they're not. They're not ceramics. So, anyways, blah blah blah. Really cool car. Special body work. Rare by the numbers, extra horsepower, cool scoops to feed the radiators in the rear quarter panels. Super rare to see one in person, even rarer still to be able to afford one and have the knowledge and the gumption to go out and buy one. I envy the guy that's going to win this one here. The big question is, can Doug DeMuro sell like the most expensive air-cooled car that is out there in the United States. Just as a teaser, the numbers so far with this car closes in basically a day. The numbers so far are looking pretty good. So JP, I sent it over to you. I know Gary Ackerman, I think, has one of these. Have you ever had a chance to drive a Turbo S, or actually, have you ever driven a 993 Turbo in anger? Like, have you been let loose in one of those cars?
In a Turbo, yes, like a bunch of times, but not a Turbo S. I think
how good is it?
Huh? They're as good as advertised. They are the pinnacle of human achievement. Speaking of Gary, so the white one that our friends at Godden Porsche of Las Vegas has on their showroom floor for sale right now is the car, I believe. Well, no, maybe not in that in my road trip ramble there, but I did drive that car to Monterey and did the Dan's drive in that car. I got to have a lot of fun. I did the road that we just did, you and I, in my 964 in a much more hasty manner. The one that the road that we just took the other day to Rensport. Yeah. I basically drove that route back to Vegas and had a grand old time. The 993 Turbo is one of the greatest cars of all time. This particular car, I think I know the car.
Really?
E-Garage. This looks like Cat's Exotic. I'm trying to find.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to find the Carfax on this thing.
PN007. I don't know who that is, but I know Cat's Exotics. We transacted with them. I was at Ferrari San Francisco for a while, and I think we bought one of their cars, and I think I sold them a couple of cars to their market up there in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I mean, how many of these
nice
can
guys.
there be, much less, particularly in the Northwest? I mean, whether or not I know this specific car or not, I've never driven an S. Something interesting for you guys, little fun tidbit, that air intake on the side does nothing. It literally stops. It stops at the frame. That is
right there in the corner.
That little air inlet on the S does absolutely bubkiss, which is kind of a bummer.
It's a total drag. Mental.
Yeah. I always make fun of Dodge Chargers because of that. They have the big scoops on the front, and same things with the Mustangs. It's the automotive equivalent of a lie to have those fake scoops all over the thing. Kind of like that Holden had those vents on the side on the front fenders, and they don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. It's just plastic crap. Well, I think this is even worse than that because it is dragging air into a hole that it just gets stopped and goes nowhere. The way I found out about that is our friend Jaeger, when he built his 993 Speedster, they made it a wide body, and they put the vents on the side, and he got them from Porsche. And when they went to install them, they realized that they stop at the frame. They do nothing. Collect junk. So you got to vacuum them out. The stuff will get down in there.
The goggles, they do nothing.
They do nothing. But that doesn't mean the car isn't faster than a regular turbo. But yeah, it's interesting.
They are not engineered to make performance.
Yeah. What do you think, Wade?
Oh, this is the kind of car where fake vents are okay. I mean, if you're going to put it on your Charger, your Chevy SS, or your Honda, whatever, fine. But this is a car where fake vents are excusable.
Really?
For sure. I think so.
Really? Okay. So we're just going to be inconsistent here.
No, I mean, come on.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Exactly. I mean,
all right.
And this is a car, unfortunately, that I don't think those vents will see much air over the next 5 to 10 years. It's probably not going to get driven all that much, which is a shame. Beautiful car. It's going to go to another collector who's going to pay an obscene amount of money and unfortunately probably never drive it, but really beautiful.
What do you think, Metal?
I am going to be the odd man out. This is an amazing car. It is worth a fortune. It will not bring a fortune because I don't think the people that look for these cars are coming to this website. This thing is deliciously unmodified. I mean, look how far up it is sitting on that front wheel. This thing hasn't even had a spring adjustment. Look at all that gap right there. That's incredible. Yeah. But I think
the car.
Yeah, the car is amazing. I think the site's going to hurt it.
Yeah, Cars and Bids is not the place for this car. I want to be proven wrong. I want Doug to be able to sell this car, but this is it's going to be interesting to see. What do you think? What's the number going to be, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP. So here's the deal. Our car closes tomorrow, and it's already sitting at $550,000 on 9 bids. and Patrick LeBeau said that he thinks it's going to close tomorrow and sell for $650,000. And I don't think he's wrong. I think this car is in the market. I think that when you have a car this special, everybody knows, like the collectors or the people that are out there that have been looking for one of these, or like you were saying, JP, you might know this car. The guys who trade these cars kind of do know these cars. And so somebody who might be waiting for this exact car will know that it's on Doug DeMuro's site and not give a rat's ass that it's on Doug DeMuro's site. If they want it, they're going to go get it. And I think that's bore out by the fact that it's already at 550 and it closes in, less than 14 hours from now. It's on just 9 bids, but I don't think the bid count has anything to do with the fact that this thing will find a home. And Patrick is right on the money. So I'm just going to take the over on Patrick's bid and go $675,000 and say that it sells. And Doug DeMuro, notwithstanding, his, Ross dress for less khaki shorts will not stand in the way in this car finding a home because it's just too rare, too special. And his site is mass adoption has occurred. So everybody's watching. So I don't think there's any problem with this car transacting tomorrow. So John, argue with me. Where are you at?
How much was this car worth a year ago? Was this a darn near $1 million car?
Let's see. Hold on one second.
Because I feel like, at 13,000 miles, this car should be an $800,000 car. It's a 993 Turbo S.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. It's one of those things, JP, where like a year ago, this might have been a $550,000 car. And this car hasn't suffered the softening in the market to all the rest of the cars. As a blue chip, this car might have continued to go up from last year's numbers. So last year, this could have been, say, a $600,000 car, and now it's a $650,000 to $700,000 car because there's just so few of them, especially low-mile, attractive black ones. The yellow might be polarizing that I know several of these were built in. So the value today could be over what they were a year ago because, inflation.
What was your number? 675?
675, yeah.
Yeah, I think it gets over 600. The question is how much, and does it sell for that? I mean, it's a dealer. I think 600. Anything with a 6 is too low. I think this should be a $750,000 car. I don't think it's going to get there. I don't think whether it's Doug DeMuro's fault or the market's fault. I think it's going to be tough. I'm going to say 63,993 and send it over to Wade.
Was that 630 or?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Or 630?
Yeah, 630,993.
Okay, just want to make sure it's on the
thanks
board.
Thanks for making that clear. Sorry.
I really do think a car like this, regardless of the platform, is going to get 95% of the attention it deserves, if not all of it. This isn't like, a $50,000 or $60,000 car. This is a 6-figure car and beyond. There's only however many couple hundred in the world, and this is probably one of the top 5% examples, top 2% examples. And when a car like this comes online, everyone knows who's been looking for it. Right. I really don't think cars and bids is going to hurt it at all. We've seen Doug DeMuro's site put massive numbers on really special cars. Sure, bring
Countach.
Yeah, the Countach may even be more quirky and right up his alley. And I'm sure Bring a Trailer would have loved to have this. And maybe there's a little bit more money on Bring a Trailer. Maybe they have a special 14-day auction for this car and just blast the hell out of it and put it everywhere and it makes the news, whatever. But everyone knows that this car is for sale who wants it, and they're going to pay all of the money. I don't know that it'll hit 7, but I think it's going to come close and probably go like 685.
Nice. You're strong. Woohoo.
Boom.
Let me give you a couple more numbers mental as you consider your bid. This is one of 345 built for the world, and Doug DeMuro's team did a little more research and found out that it's just one of 176 that were sold in the United States.
Okay, well, step one, if you're on the show, look at the actual bid before you decide what that car is going to be worth, because I just got a whole education. I do want to throw it back to the main co-host here. Do you think the fact that he got this car combined with that Countach means that maybe Cars and Bids is starting to flex a little muscle, moving in on some high-end territory. Threat to bring a trailer?
I mean, that's another conversation, but I don't think the evidence is there for that, because we have seen some other cars not make it, or at least generally they're less. Is it a threat to BAT? I don't think BAT cares at all, because BAT just still has a greater volume and just way more eyeballs looking at it.
Yeah, I would agree with JP and say that BAT owns, and I'm literally, this is just perspective from John and I studying the market for 3 years. I would say BAT owns over half of the market, and everybody else is playing with the smaller piece of the pie and splitting it up between them. Of the best of the rest, Doug DeMuro, I think, stands head and shoulders, above Pique Market, who's above everybody else, including Hagerty, who's hopefully on the come up, because that's where I've parked that's where I've unpacked my suitcase. But like John said, I don't think BAT cares if Doug DeMuro's getting a few big pieces. They sell cars like this every week, and Doug doesn't sell. Yeah, Doug selling a six-figure car is a rare occasion, and BAT is selling several six-figure cars every single day. And then every once in a while they'll drop $1 million car, and it's like nothing to them,
Yeah, back to the car. Solid, really good condition 993 turbos are well over $300,000 for run of the mill 993 turbo. This car should be 3x what a run of the mill 993 turbo should be. I think that the market just has not realized this car. If these aren't going for nearly $1 million, I don't know why. I mean, that's such a rare car, and it's one of the best versions of a Porsche ever made. So why isn't it there with everything else that's getting that kind of money?
Well, it doesn't have hardback sports seats, so that's probably going to hold.
No, that's a good point. And it's not some Honda Blue.
That would help.
If it was painted like an '84 Honda Accord, you guys would be like, it's $1 million. All right, what do you guys think this 993 Turbo S is going to bring?
Mental needs to give us a bid.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna pop in and say it's $695. It's gonna go just short of $700.
Wow, Mental's going deep. I like it. I think the car should be worth that, or I think it should be way more. But
and honestly, it hurts my heart because this car will never get driven, and you guys keep talking about how it's the best version of the best version of the thing, and no one will ever get to know that.
I don't know if that's the case. Someone might buy it. I mean, who knows? This is the kind of car that Rami would buy if he were if the moment was right.
Okay, so that's one person.
Rami's not the
Up
only
next
guy
on the Rami Show, I
Yeah.
take my $750,000 Porsche and do donuts on an abandoned runway.
That's happening. I got to drive the roof last weekend. The
What'd
roof.
You think?
Oh my god, it was so great. I still like the RS better, the 993 RS, but the roof was just it. Yeah, it's a blast. It's a blast. I mean,
we know Rami's going to be watching this. He knows what my favorite Porsche of his is.
The crazy green one that he almost
the 930 the murder Porsche. I love it.
The murder Porsche, the black one.
No. The 930 that's tried to kill all of us several times.
That's true. I won't get in that car. That thing scares me. All right, guys, that is Bid Nerds Live. You guys can check out our good friend Wade Bennet on Tech Daily. Is that right, Wade?
You can. I'll be there all week uploading tech videos if you're interested.
New iPhone came out, right? Should we get that thing? Oh, look at that thing.
There it is in all its titanium glory. And it's almost the same phone as last year.
Wow. Mental Everyone Racers? Plug that.
Absolutely. Check us out, Everyone Racers, or here, Bid Nerds, and think one of these days we'll do another Rami Show.
Very nice. Check out the Rami Show. We got some new stuff coming this week. I'm putting all kinds of new old stuff on Der Faszination. And of course, Bid Nerds, we're having a good time here. Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. Go ahead, Deeb.
Hit me up if you want to sell your car on Hagerty Marketplace. I can help you out and get you the most amount of money return on your investment.
How's that going?
My teammates were quite happy. They said could not have gotten better service from our friend Michael Deeb over at Hagerty.
What do you got for sale over there right now, Michael Deeb?
I have coming up, Wade, you'll like this. It's a 2016 AMG G63, and it's a studio package car. So the studio package cars were these wild colorways. So this one is like a like triple layer pearlescent metallic yellow. It's an all black quilted interior with yellow stitching. Car's got like 14,000 original miles. And it's an absolute hoot to drive. Robbie Gomez and I drove it to go do photographs, and the car is absolutely bitching. It's not online at the moment, but that car will drop this week. And then later in the week, I've got a 1961 Jaguar Mark II car that was built to compete in the Carrera Panamericana with a contemporary 4-liter inline 6 that makes about 275, 300 horsepower, normally aspirated. And I think it's got a 6-speed manual and a full roll cage. And Mental, you would love this car. It's so badass.
Yes. I will be here next week. I need to hear about this car.
Yeah, Mark II Carrera Panamericana. Maybe we'll cover that car, JP, just for fun, because it'd be a really weird car. Like, none of us have any idea what that car is going to sell for. It'd be really fun.
Love it.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
All right, guys, there it is. Come and join us live this Wednesday night around 7:30. We will maybe cover that car and a bunch more, and we will reconcile our poor predictions that we just made. Come and play Price is Right with Enthusiast Cars on Bid Nerds. See you guys Wednesday. Bye.